17 cars in race 1B. Green flag flies, and we're racing at GRIDLIFE Circuit Legends. A great start from Hans Horpenal. Down to the inside, we're 3 wide. Here they come into the first corner. Kevin Zhu is in the middle. Alex Moss drops back 1 spot. Hans to the inside, wants the lead away. Moss to the rear bumper of Zhu as they make their way through Big Bend, Pete.
Here we go. Hans pulling ahead. We still have a Zhu on the inside. Is he going to be able to do something here through Little Bend?
Oh, side by side still Tyler Pappas bobbling and wobbling and weaving in the 24 car behind. Hans Horpenal still side by side through the right-hander up onto the backstretch, Pete. What a great start by Hans Horpenal.
Doing a great job showing what makes GLTC. Everybody giving themselves room, giving their competitors room, as we are seeing some fantastic racing here.
Through the uphill for the first time, Hans Horpenal leads the way. Kevin Zhu drops a second. Tyler Pappas wants second place away into West Bend now. This is not really a passing opportunity. You kind of have to follow single file through here. Bit of a wobble. Tyler Pappas drops a tire.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier during qualifying, he picked that curb up on the inside of West Bend.
He did. Now down the front straightaway. Lap 1 is complete. And Hans Horpenal leads, but not by much. Kevin Zhu closes the gap. Some passing in the background, I see, down the front stretch there. Defensive line from Morosky and the Mini Cooper, but into turn 1, Hans under fire from Kevin Zhu again.
Zhu coming in hard on the brakes. Hans pulling out a little bit of a lead again, and here we are.
And there's Thomas Moss in the 515, the MX-5 just behind him. One of our newcomers, I believe, but Tyler Pappas, a hometown driver, sort of. He's from New Jersey, so this is kind of a home event for him. He's got Alex Moss right behind him. Alex, an extremely experienced time attack driver, has picked up some GLTC action in this S2000. It's not quite prepped all the way to the limit of the rules, but Alex extracting quite a bit out of it. And Pete, we're going to have a battle for the lead because Hans is not driving away from Kevin. We're back to the front here again through West Bend.
This top 4 is all sticking together. Hans can't leave Zhu behind, and they can't leave 3rd and 4th behind.
They head down the hill and complete the next lap here as they continue to work their way around. And off into turn 1. Look at that pass to the inside. Ben Borowski held up, nowhere to go.
Moss doing a great job there.
And now through turn 3 again. The lead gap is only about a car length and a half here. Alex Moss, Tyler Pappas. So Pappas got around Moss, or vice versa rather. Moss up to 3rd. And now they're going to head up to the uphill once again. And if Zhu can hound Horpenal for long enough, I wonder if Hans's car will get a little greasier throughout this race and lose some rear grip. Kevin's going to not lose rear grip because he's in that front-wheel drive car. All the work is being done by the front tires. So he's got that to lean on.
Yeah, and Zhu is strong. Zhu is currently showing stronger through turn 1, so it's going to be curious to see if he's got. It looks like he's got a good run here down the hill and onto the Samposi straight. Is he going to make a move here in the Big Bend?
Look at the size difference between those two cars. The Civic so much taller. Alex Moss, best lap of the race. Don Louis picks up his lap time. So does Thomas Moss. But S2000 versus Honda Civic, we've seen this battle many times before.
Yes, we have.
But remember that there are points on the line here in this race. 3, 2, and 1 for the top 3 drivers. So this is technically a race for what would be 21st in the full race, but you get points for it, and those can count. And that's a big deal on the end of the weekend, especially considering the top 5 of these drivers will advance into the top group if we continue to run this format tomorrow as well. There's a relegation and promotion process for those at the bottom of A and the top of B, so that's something to consider as well.
That's fantastic. And it looks like Moss, Zhu, and Hans are all starting to leave Pappas behind. Yep.
Here we go. Kevin Zhu pops out of line, looks to the inside of Hans Horpenal. Battle for the lead here in 1B. At Circuit Legends, Kevin Zhu later on the brakes, leans on him into Big Bend. Little slide there. Hans throttles up, tries to carry speed on the outside. And here comes Alex Moss behind both of them. Battle for the lead still through Big Bend. Now into the left-hander. Hans will have the advantage here, Pete, but this is excellent racing for the top spot.
Zhu's doing a great job, but Moss wants in on this battle.
Oh, he's going to get shuffled out through the right-hander now. He'll have to give it up. Pretty single-file line through the right-hander. But Zhu's offense now became defense because Moss didn't let him have it. He had to fight for second, and he lost that lead again. He was so close to stealing it back.
Yeah, giving Hans an advantage now. So now it's Hans up by himself with Zhu and Moss fighting.
Zoo's offline there through West Bend, Pete. He just missed the apex, and that's going to leave Alex Moss to the inside. A pass in the downhill for Alex Moss. Big aggressive move to the inside, and he bailed out of it. Kevin Zhu stays second, but look at all the ground they lost, Pete.
Yeah, Hans is in the process of checking out.
And this is one of those moments where if you're Kevin Zhu, you gotta be frustrated, right? You had the opportunity to steal the lead away, but because you had to play defense for a corner or three, it let the leader get away. So the goal now shifts almost to a time attack competition where you have to run the best laps that you can run to track that leader back down. But if Hans is perfect, he can maintain that gap.
Yeah, and this has brought Pappas back into the battle with Moss. So he's right back up with him. So see if he can challenge Moss, or if Moss and Zhu start to pull back away again.
And I wonder if Kevin Zhu with some clear racetrack can find some more pace on his own without the distraction of a car ahead of you that you're kind of subconsciously following. You try not to target fixate, but it's hard, especially when you're trying to look through the car ahead of you to see where the corner is.
Super difficult. So having the space that he does is going to allow him, hopefully, to run his best laps, maybe give him a chance at running Hans down, but I don't know. That gap looks larger than it was the prior lap.
Let's see what the difference is. It was 1.7 seconds last time, and this time across the stripe, 1.5. It was a 2/10 gain. But again, the timer here, we could run a little shorter than the time that's remaining on the timing and scoring tower, so we have to factor in any lap could be the white flag. Big lunge there by the 65 of Eric Thompson into turn one, past Thomas Moss. Thompson, another local driver. And that was a big move. He completed the pass.
It was. And it's such a cool car, too. I love this Celica.
It's a unique car. Eric was here with us last season, I think in a different car. Whoa, Tyler Pappas slow. Does he have a problem? He must. Yeah. Tyler Pappas is off pace and slow, leaving the right-hander. He was fourth, Pete, and that's going to hurt a bunch.
It is. So, and I question if he's going to try and find a way to cut off, because he's not just off pace. He looks dead. He's out of gas. Yeah, look, gusto. Yeah, it looks like the drive just stopped moving in that BMW. He used that on the Pikes Peak hill climb this year as well. Not in the GLTC trim. It was running full power. And all right, across the stripe. Let's see. Didn't see a white flag that time through, but the gap is smaller still, 1.2 seconds. So Zhu is reeling Hans back down. The question is, does he have time to get him back all the way? That's going to be hard. Definitely. Moss is still up there with him, but it looks like Zhu is keeping him at bay. And now we've got a new battle with Thompson and Moss in fourth and fifth.
Yeah, and Ben Lynn also fighting with the 81 Corteco car. There it is. And Don Louis in the 363 just ahead. This is a battle for sixth.
Yep.
It's raging on right now, deeper in the field. What a great battle we've had, though, and that you see how critical it is to not get distracted like Zhu and Moss did for a moment and let Hans drive away. Hans getting run back down, but every lap, every moment here is absolutely critical, and you can't afford to give up a tenth or two of a second, let alone a half a second or more.
No, we get a lot of laps here with how short that they are, but every mistake is just that much more critical.
Down the hill through the downhill of all places. Eric Thompson, another lap improvement, and there's your lead gap.
Zhu losing a little bit, 3/10 on that lap to Hans Horpendahl.
Yeah, I wonder if he's pushing a little too hard to try to make up some time when he can't really extract a whole lot more speed out of that car. But we know they're so close. Here's Ben Lynn down the inside of Bob Dyson to turn one. Great move there from the 104 in the Toyota MR2. The Civic slots in behind Richard Sawicki in the 528 into the mix. This is a battle for 8th place.
This is fantastic. And it's what makes GLTC so special.
This is a mid-engine rear drive car, a front-engine front drive car, a front-engine rear drive car, all battling together. Very different philosophies on how to go fast. Some builds old, some builds new. Ben Lynn's car, it's only its second event at the racetrack.
Ben Lynn with no aero. I think Bob doesn't have any front aero.
Yep.
And I think Richard's got both.
I think he does. Kevin Zhu picked up another 10th on Hans, but it's going to have to be more than that, Pete, I fear. We're running low on time, almost certainly. As Lynn leads Deist on the downhill now. And there's that lead battle. You see Kevin kind of arcing into the left-hander a little more.
Yep.
And Moss able to stay slightly tighter through turn 3.
Yeah, and Moss is starting to fall back just a hair.
Ben Lynn on
outside.
On defense into turn 1. Bob Dice tucks back in behind, slide. Whoa, Ben Lynn, big bobble in the MR2, gathers it up, and he continues, but that was a big handful of steering lock to try to hold that MR2 straight. He is under pressure from Bob Dice.
Yes, he is. And he had a little bobble earlier, but he has been doing a great job this weekend. And his first weekend at Mid-Ohio 2 weeks ago.
I'm just impressed he was able to hang on to it and not lose the spot. That's the more impressive part to me.
Absolutely.
Ooh, we hear the revs climb over the hill.
Yep.
Eric Thompson, another quick lap as Kevin Zhu lost some more ground that last time by.
Yep.
And now really facing the most pressure from Alex Moss in the 150, who is sharing that car with Andy Smedegaard here this weekend.
Yeah.
But great fight for second place, as Bob Dice did pass Ben Lynn there coming to the stripe last time around. So change the 8th place to the 618 and throw the 104 down to 9th. Through the trees here at Lime Rock into West Bend. Kevin throwing the car in there again. And Alex was a little out of sorts there too.
Yes. Tires are hot. Everything's loose. They're trying to manage, but I think Hans is about to check out.
Yeah, still no white flags, so we still get to keep racing, which is great. This race is going longer than I thought it was going to go, which is all good news. Yep. We continue to race for now.
And that's a full 2 seconds now for Zhu behind.
Trouble for the 51. David Rudzinski off at Big Bend. And he's going to try to limp it off course.
Yeah, but he's in mud and water. I question if he's going to get stuck there, and we are going to end up with caution.
Well, I wonder if they'll just give him the white and let him finish and cover it with a local. But the problem is that will be a yellow at turn 1, which a local yellow at turn 1, which would prevent that from being a passing opportunity. And it is kind of the passing opportunity here, so that's not going to make things any easier.
No.
But through the uphill we roll as the timer ticks down. I'd expect a white or a yellow relatively shortly, and that would bring an end to this race. It has been a thrilling one so far, and we're not even half done. I mean, we've still got a whole other race to go. Look at Ben Lynn going back at it with Sawicki here.
Sawicki's trying to pressure him. Ben has got a car. The back end of that car is really loose. Oh, and we've got
there's the white.
There's the white. One of the Reds cars pulling in.
Yeah, so 1 lap to go for Kevin Zhu. He's lost some ground to Hans Horpedal now.
And Moss has closed up the gap. Moss is only a half second behind now.
Just don't know if he's going to be able to do anything with it on this final lap. But the leader's in traffic. That's a consideration as well. Hans working his way through the field.
Yeah.
Is it Nathan Manning? I think it is the 860 of Nathan Manning. And into the uphill for the final time. A thrilling race 1B. A battle with Hans Horpedal, Kevin Zhu, and Alex Moss. That'll be one for the ages. That was excellent stuff. Hans Horpedal has 2 corners left to go. And while this won't count in the official wins column, it is a win nonetheless. And Ben Lynn's car stuck at the downhill, but it doesn't matter.
And he's smoking too.
Yep, but the Sunoco checkered flag comes out, and Hans Horpedal wins race 1B at Lime Rock Park. We'll end with a variety of cars around the racetrack. Kevin Zhu second, Alex Moss third. Eric Thompson grabs a 4th, and it should be Thomas Moss. That should come home in 5th place. The pace car is going to make that right-hand turn onto pit lane, and there it goes. When the green drops, we are racing. And now we wait. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Circuit Legends. GRIDLIFE Touring Cup is underway.
Luke McGrew with a great start.
What a launch. That's what matters. Look at Howden on the outside, 3 wide into Big Bend. That's a critical pass if he can make it stick. Luke, look at Matan Rosenberg, 3 wide in the middle. Nowhere for him to go. Howden's on the outside. We're 3 wide, 3 rows deep contact. Matan Rosenberg shuffles Howden off course. He bails. There's a slip and slide behind. The ASM cars get together. Oh, and there's trouble for Lena Chin. She's got a mechanical problem from that contact. She pulls straight off as we roll through turn number 3. And now we head up onto the Paul Newman straight, single filing out, Pete.
Yeah. There's another car that was going off onto Paul Newman. Here we go right there.
I didn't see which car that was, but there was a lot of 3 wide there, and Houghton's to the inside of Rosenberg here now, and I wonder if Matan, well, it didn't give it to him there. He kind of shuffled James off track there at the exit of the corner. Have to get another look at that if we can, but that was a tricky scenario. But Tom's out front trying to drive away from Luke McGrew, who did beat him to the line, by the way, but just didn't lead out of Big Bend, which is the critical part. Defense behind from, I think that's Darling potentially on Vidoc. Tomo in the trainer 3 leads the way, but McGrew only 0.6 back. We'll keep our eyes on that battle. Matan and Houghton still side by side for 4th place. Tom's off track. Did he hit? I wonder if there's oil or something over there.
The car just snapped on him. And there's Luke on the.
He had no grip either. So there's definitely fluid. There's got to be something on the racetrack.
Yep.
You don't see Tom make a mistake like that almost ever.
Or Luke.
No.
Luke does, not back to back like that.
It tightens things up though. The leaders nose to tail here, up the uphill. So everybody tiptoeing through turn 3. McGrew's now got Waldbaum behind him on the uphill, and just behind that, look at Houghton. Where'd he come from? And where'd Rosenberg go?
That's a great question.
So huge dramas here on this opening 2 laps at Lime Rock Park. Things are shuffling very quickly. So Tom O'Gorman leads. There's been a change inside the top 5 though. So here's the positions across the stripe. McGrew, quicker lap. Houghton just ran the best lap of anybody because of that slip up in turn number 3. And here's Ronnie Vidoc on Waldbaum into Big Bend. Looks up the inside. Waldbaum leaves him plenty of space. Great racing there. And now here's where the slippery moments were last lap around.
Yeah, you can see Tom staying way further inside, I feel like.
Yeah, everyone looked like they got grip that time, so I don't know, maybe there was water or something from someone going off track, and
it might be.
That was weird.
It really was, especially to see Tom make a mistake or have a mistake, and then have Luke make one immediately after.
Yeah, Scott Heckert side by side with Jake Price into the uphill. That was a tight battle. There's Paul Darling chasing Vidoc, chasing Waldbaum.
And Houghton all over the back of Luke.
And again, this is critical. James, while he'd love to beat Tomo, he doesn't need to, but he's got to get by Luke to get up to the 94. Yep. And there's Lena Chin. She's stuck at turn 3, the left-hander. Well off track, though, so we'll keep racing.
Yep.
Waldbaum was playing defense in the backdrop to Ronnie Vidoc. Into turn 1, there's Vidoc on Waldbaum. Big lunge from the 99 in the back of that shot. There he is. Waldbaum's wide. But he's carrying speed, though. And so he'll maintain that for now. There's a great shuffle on behind him. Rosenberg, by the way, fell to 7th. So I wonder if he just slipped off track and rejoined.
Very possible. Let's see.
Scott Heckert up inside the top 10. Salil Shukla in the 410.
Yeah, and this battle with Ronnie and Matt is allowing Paul to slide up behind them.
Oh, there's Matan. So now he's got another problem, maybe a bigger one this time. So that is problematic for the 484. Here's James, still tracking behind Luke McGrew. A little wide there at West Bend.
Yep.
You run a lot of laps here as well. We could run 15 or so laps. Houghton a little slidey exiting turn 7. Didn't get the drive that he needed. And Tom at a 1 second lead. Is he slipping away? Just slightly, about a 10th a lap.
Yep. And Houghton falling just slightly behind Luke as well.
Ooh, Vidoc tried the outside into turn 1. That didn't work either. And he's going to be under fire from Paul Darling at the top of the shot. But this is the battle for second. Luke McGrew and James Houghton. Through turn 3, or 4 rather. This is the right-hander. And James, I think James is quicker, but you have to be quicker in the right places. And maybe down the front straightaway is not where that car is really realizing its full advantage.
Yep. And Luke also knows how to play this game. Luke knows how to... Luke has fantastic racecraft, drives extremely well.
But is it well enough? James is here on the downhill. There's the 484 again. But Tom leaves turn 7. Here's James really wide at the exit of 7 in the slipstream. But watch Luke grow that gap. It's just enough. Now, James was sliding there, so he didn't get the drive that he needed. But no. James, again, has the quickest lap of anybody in the session. Here's Vidoc and Waldbaum again, slicing and dicing into turn 1. This battle has been great between those two.
It has, and Paul is just sitting there right on the backside, waiting and waiting to pounce to see if these two make any slip-ups, and see if he can capture anything. Oh,
yeah, I mean, Ronnie's trying a lot.
Yeah.
But again, it's the same problem where he's quicker in some areas, but not the right ones.
Yep.
And so Matt's able to defend beautifully, to his credit, and not allow Ronnie to get on by. Into the uphill now. Clouds over the track, cools the track off a little bit. And off into West Bend. And by the way, last time we should note that McGrew and Houghton did eat into O'Gorman's lead slightly, so that gap is down under a second now. But there's the difference. About 15 car lengths between Tomo and McGrew. And 1.3 is the difference this time. That was a gain for Tom. And Houghton chucked it down into 1.
Every single time he is going for McGrew. That is where James has the advantage, is down there in the Big Bend.
And Tony Marchev up into 9th place, right ahead of Salil Shukla. Joel Morrison up into 11th place. Ronnie Vidoc kind of fell off the back of Waldbaum at Big Bend, and here comes Paul Darling in a car that is new to him, but he performed so well with at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Yeah. Waldbaum starting to walk away a little bit from Ronnie.
And up the uphill again. Scott Heckert doing a great job, only in his second ever GLTC event. And I wonder if he's feeling some frustration, Pete. I mean, he's been behind Luke for a couple of laps, and he sees Tom getting smaller. There's still plenty of race time left to go, I'd imagine.
Yep.
Here comes James again, but just not enough of a run.
He closed up, and then Luke just started to pull away again right after the apex.
Into 1.
I'm sorry, leg 2.
And look at James kind of widening out up onto the curb to try to get the car to rotate. He's so close. But Luke, you mentioned his racecraft earlier, the way he places the car. Luke can drive defense better than almost anyone. He doesn't have to do anything intentional to play defense. He just drives his line and drives it well and doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That was why when we saw Tom slip and Luke slip, we're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
There's no way they would have both made that mistake.
These are two guys that are scalpel precision.
Yeah, they could have just been dirt on track too, and that's why it didn't happen the second time around. There's Leland Wumboldt in his first ever GLTC race. What an experience he's getting right now. Yeah. Gary Wimble following, and Sam Scott in the yellow Miata at the bottom of the shop. Eric Jensen, I think, is in that mix as well. Yep, that's for 13th place. Ben Thorne just lost a spot to Wumboldt this time around. A great little battle here. Gary Wimble in the midst of it. And Vidoc, he has just been relentless on the back of Waldbaum. Oh, slip! Ooh. Big slide from Waldbaum. Did he gather it up? I think he did.
Yeah, but how much did Ronnie take advantage of that?
I'm not sure that he, well, oh, Ronnie slipped too. And through comes Paul Darling into 5th place. Wow.
Again, sat there, waited for the opportunity, and took it when it came.
I'm not sure if you've noticed this, Pete. Compared to last year, the volatility of this race, way higher. Lots of mistakes, lots of slips. And here comes Houghton to the inside of McGrew. He opens the door. Is he there? Not quite. Tried to look to the inside, popped the curb at West Bend. I thought Luke might have gave it to him there, but Luke's fighting this hard, and he should be.
Absolutely.
Coming back around again, and we are still green, still racing. Here's a battle coming into your shot, but this is the battle for second. McGrew on the wind down into the braking zone here. You have to be so precise on the brakes to set yourself up for this Big Bend corner. It's a long turn with multiple apexes. If you get it wrong once, you get it wrong for a long time.
Yep. So, and James is just, it doesn't feel like James isn't being able to hound Luke McGrew the same way he was. So I'm wondering if James's tires are just overheated and done.
It could be. And the battle behind them with Matt Waldbaum and Paul Darling, that one's getting closer as well. I think Paul's got some more pace in here.
And, okay, that's Jensen. All right,
yeah, Jensen slots in behind Zach Lavoie. Here's Leland Wumboldt still climbing through the field. And making great progress here and learning in a pretty visceral way how GLTC can be sometimes. Aggressive, close combat here at Lime Rock Park.
Yeah. Paul Darling doing the same thing this year as well. Hats off.
Whoa, Leland Wumboldt. You see him climb the hill, came over the crest. The front wheels were fighting for traction there. But he's got an LS swap FRS in front of him to battle. I'll bet you that Honda. Slide and an impact at the exit of turn 7. I think it was Tony Marchev in the 17. He's had a big impact. Driver's left, final corner. And the yellow flag is out at turn 7. And Ronnie Vidoc and Paul Darling continue to battle as here comes Jensen on the outside of Lavoie into turn 1. And I would have to imagine that we'd be expecting a potential for a full course yellow here pretty shortly. But we'll get an update for you when we can. There's the safety trucks rolling. And, yeah, so that's all tire bundles there, Pete, which is good news for us and for Tony. But that was a pretty sizable... Is he on top of him?
I think that's just the dirt. I think he just
you're right.
The bundles that much.
There's a full course yellow, so the race is under caution. And the pace car is out. So Tony Marchev with a slide off course there at the downhill, and that thing just went off course and it just didn't grip, Pete. And that's what happens in the wet grass is you get off track and you just slide, right? There's not a lot you can do about it. And, that's a bummer. But under yellow, Tom O'Gorman leads. McGrew, Houghton, Waldbaum, Darling, 1 through 5. And we will do our best to get you an update on Tony when we can. But we'll let the crews get to work here as we will likely end this race under yellow as Tomo gets behind the pace car. That's all dirt from where the tire bundle moved. And so just to the track's credit, this is correct barrier design because that barrier, see how much it moved? That's just absorbing energy.
Yep.
And so with that, you're protecting the driver and the race car because the wall is moving and slowing the car down in the process. Had that been an Armco wall or concrete wall, the outcome of that is so much worse. So big ups to Lime Rock for having that barrier there and able to be moved as well. A lot of times those are right up against concrete and then you just kind of punch through the rubber into the concrete. So all great news. But again, Tony out walking with a thumbs up. That's all great. As Tom O'Gorman in his first race back in GLTC since his championship wins at Lime Rock Park, picks up the Sunoco checkered flag here at Lime Rock. And it'll be Luke McGrew second, James Houghton in third.
Matt Waldbaum in fourth, and Paul Darling in fifth, I do believe.
Yeah, so here's a look at it. And Paul Darling, a nice, strong top 5. Ronnie Vidoc, Scott Heckert, Salil Shukla, Joel Morrison, Zach Lavoie, your top 10.